Welcome to the Football Forecast, your ultimate guide to the NFL week ahead. Get ready as we dive deep into the biggest matchups, analyze key player performances, and break down the strategies that could make or break your favorite team's chances. Whether you're looking to dominate your fantasy league, make smart picks and bets, or simply stay ahead of the game, we've got you covered with insights and predictions. So buckle up, football fans. It's time to get your game face on for another action-packed week in the NFL. While only one team can hoist the trophy at the end, it all starts with the forecast. Welcome to the Football Forecast, Week 12 on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. This is going to be a good one. We're the Brady Bunch, or almost the Brady Bunch, this week. I think this is the most we've ever had on an episode, I think. Even going back over the 2 or 3 year history, I think this is the most we've had. But before we get into all that, make sure you follow the Football Forecast on social media at TFB Forecast, ETB, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know the deal now that we're 12 weeks into this. YouTube.com/ETB Network. Please help us out as we get close to 900 subscribers and eventually 1,000. Please hit that rectangular or ovalish button, whatever shape it is, at this point. Just hit the button. It really helps, and it helps the algorithm.
The more people who hit the button, the better it is for us. Exactly.
And then we can give back to everybody else. If you can't watch on the video side, listen to the Football Forecast wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Odyssey, basically anywhere. If you have some type of audio receiver, you can listen to this show. YouTube Premium as well. And also the Football Forecast presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watch with the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB Network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. We've had little scheduling snafus. We're working towards getting some more NBA streams, so just stay tuned as we deal with the unfortunate NBA Emirates Cup, which is my favorite thing of all time. Not.
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever. Right. I think I lost a bet having to say that. Anyway. All right. Let's get into the week. We are 8 people this week, so we have a lot to get to. Don't do what Johnny, Grant, and I did last week, where we spent an hour and 40 minutes as 3 people. So we're going to try not.
I still don't have any understanding of how that happened.
Yeah, I was amazed when I saw the time. That's like a half. That's more than a half hour. That's 35 minutes per person.
Pretty much. I mean, if you saw the Bears and the Jets and the Cowboys rant, you'd understand why. But
and just for the record, if anybody's probably tuning in, knowing I'm a Giants fan, if you're expecting me to go off for a 2-hour rant about the news of the past week, I hate to disappoint you. That's not going to happen today. I'm going to keep it very simple. There's a lot of avenues I could go down, but I'm going to say that for a more appropriate time. Maybe tune into one of the shows here on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network, and we can talk.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. You're teasing the other shows. You're purposely withholding any takes that you have.
Well, yeah,
on this show, so people tune into other shows. I think that's a good strategy.
Don't you worry. There'll be plenty of hot takes this week. Don't you worry. But
that kind of week.
Nick D, keep in mind we're 8 people. We don't want to go 2.5 hours.
No.
Yeah. We don't have to. We don't have to go long. I mean, we're picking games. Picking games is easy. I take this side, that side. That's it.
You made that sound so easy.
But it really is that easy. It's picking games. We don't have to elaborate that much.
Well, we have plenty of fast tracks.
We don't have to do film reviews.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you referring to a certain show that we don't like?
I will tell you this: the word of the phrase of the week is fast tracks, because it is not the best slate of games, but we will pick every game.
We could fast track most of these, or other than the prime times.
All right, quickly before we get off the rails, let me go over some of the records quick, because I forgot to do that last week. So it was an interesting week. Grant, who's not here this week, which would have made us the full Brady bunch, led the way with 21 points. He had the best record. He went 8-3-3. Johnny, you and I actually finished in second with 17 points. You went 7-4-3. I went 8-5-5. I had 5 ties, 5 draws. Then it was Tom and Zan with 16 points. Tom, you went 6-6-2. Zan went 8-6 and no draws, which is kind of interesting. And then there was 3 tied for 15. That was Nick D. That was Ben Cruz and Anthony Ballister. Nick, you went 6-7-1. Ben, you went 5-6-3. Anthony went 7-6-1. And then Pat with 14 points. Just for quick context, we have a rule that if your picks don't come in, we don't want to completely screw people. So we give people a 500 record when they don't report their picks. That way they don't get completely screwed in the long run.
Yes,
So-
Tom had texted me for my picks, and I had texted about half the games out, and then I guess just forgot to do it again.
Well,
and,
you were a little busy at a UFC event.
yeah. So sadly, I did not submit any picks last week.
So, and then I'll quickly just give the final points, or the running point total. I have 214. Zan and Pat have 20. Actually, excuse me. Anthony has 205. Zan and Pat have 204. Tom has 198. Grant has 196, and Ben at the bottom of 182.
Hell yeah.
After considering the way I was at the start of the season, I am slowly climbing my way back.
All right, enough babbling. Let's get into it. So,
No,
Johnny,
hold on a minute. Hold
what?
on a minute. Well, I understand that this team is a victim of the current Bye-mageddon that's going on in week 12.
that's right.
We have 6 teams on the bye this week. But I think we need to start off with a certain video that needs to be played because I know there's something that Nick needs to let out. And because, well, I was going to have a video anyway for these guys because it's a bye week, but it took a little bit of a different turn.
All right, here we go. Video number 1.
And goodbye. You're fired.
Had enough chances, you nincompoop. You're fired.
I'm afraid you've left me no choice. You are terminated.
You're fired.
You're fired.
Your negligence has damaged this company's reputation. You're fired!
You're fired.
You're fired!
There you go.
Nick Morganson, I'm going to say what I said on ETB Sports. You know, when Aaron Rodgers first came to this team and you were being hyper negative about it, I was like, well, this is typical Nick Morganson. But here I am with this video having to admit, you were right.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, I'm not going to do the rant now because we could sit here for an hour, but
You already spoke enough on ETB Sports last week. You'll speak more and something that we'll come up with alongside the Giants. But consider that video your reward.
yes. Okay. Now, Johnny, you can take over.
Well, the only thing I can say to that, Nick, is I'll let you go first in this game. And like I said, the phrase of the week is fast track. And that's where we start here on Sunday afternoon, week 12 in the NFL. All right, Nick, Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn get us rolling on CBS as we head to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. It's Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, a 10.5-point favorite facing Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers.
I didn't know we were approving murder via football on television.
The one thing I will say, Bryce has played good, but that's not going to make me change. And Tom, I'm breaking my rule. Take the money.
He's going to take a double-digit favorite on the road, no less.
Even
Okay.
even though the Chiefs have notoriously struggled to cover this season.
Did I say it? Take the money.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, Tom, what do you have?
All right. having me do it this early, I was looking to depend on everybody else, but I guess here we are. Look, the Chiefs are obviously going to win this game. I just said that this was going to be murder via football. The only thing that I'm struggling with on the cover side is, like I said, the Chiefs have struggled. They did manage to, I think they've managed to cover maybe twice this whole season? Once.
Yeah.
3 times.
Oh, is it 3 times?
3 times.
Feels
okay.
like once.
Cover more than the Jets do.
I have to go back and check that, but
All right. But regardless, look, if they can't cover against the Panthers, I don't know who they can cover against. So, you know what? Just for the hell of it, sure. I'll take the money too.
man,
Yeah, this one's easy for me. I will think the Chiefs to win this game. I just think that Carolina is too depleted everywhere, and I think that Kansas City is going to take out all their frustration from last week, knowing that they probably should have won and they didn't. So with that being said, I think this is another really bad loss for Carolina. So give me the money in the Chiefs as well.
That's actually fair. I didn't think about the fire that's going to be under them.
Nick D.
Chiefs. I like the Chiefs to cover. The Panthers are very bad, and I've said this before, they always lose by big margins. They never lose small. They always lose big. And if they're going to lose, I mean, I get that they won 2 games in a row, but if they're going to lose, they're going to lose big. So I can't not pick the Chiefs to cover.
All right, first time we get to toss to Pat. Pat, what do you think here?
So for me, I actually think the Panthers' offense is going to be at full force this week. Jonathan Brooks coming back from injury, Adam Thielen coming back from injury. I know it's not anything crazy, but I think that after losing most of the game, they might come back in the fourth quarter and score some points just to make it seem like it was close at some point. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win, but no cover.
Oh, you're backdooring.
Well, because they suck at covering.
Yeah, I mean, I look at these two teams. You know, the Chiefs, of course, are coming off of a tough one against Buffalo, so I think they're going to take all their anger out on this poor team. Give me the Chiefs to cover, and this is my lock of the week.
Oh!
A double-digit lock.
Yeah, I guess Ben beat me to it because I think the Chiefs are going to win and cover. They're going to be fired up after losing to the Buffalo Bills, so this is going to be my lock of the week as well. Take the money.
Oh, somebody's trying to call me, which is just great. I thought about doing that, but I actually have a better game for that.
Well, they're leaving a message.
They didn't really, so it must have not been important. But
it might have been Bryce Young.
I was going to say maybe Bryce Young ownership or something.
No, wait. It was Jerry Jones not happy with our opinions last week.
Oh, really, Jerry?
Yeah, you laid another dud. Yeah, so I thought about the lock of the week, but like you said, the Chiefs have struggled covering. But I look at this matchup, guys, and you guys had said it. Chiefs coming off of a loss, that means they're going to be angry. And the one strength the Panthers have this year is their running attack with Chuba Hubbard, and like Pat said, Brooks is going to be making his debut. But the Chiefs are great at stuffing the run, so I think they are going to win by 2 scores at least here. So I am going to take the Chiefs minus the 10.5 down there in Carolina in Game 1. All right, one of our non-official fast tracks of the week. Zan, I'll go to you next. It's Kevin Kugler, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Laura Oakman on Fox. It's the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold heading to Chicago to face Caleb Williams and your Bears. And your Bears are getting 3.5 at Soldier Field.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game for sure. The Bears found another way to break my heart last week, and unfortunately, I was too overzealous, if you will, and thought the Packers would be able to cover the number. They didn't, so that was definitely one of the most stinking losses in terms of picks on this show that I've had since I've started doing this about 1.5 years ago. I'm gonna try. Hey, I'm gonna try not to make that same mistake again. So we're gonna stay away from any locks on this one. But I just simply think that Minnesota is the better team. Chicago's gonna keep it close, but I think Sam Darnold has been one of the most underrated stories in football since coming to Minnesota. I think Minnesota is notoriously good at beating Chicago at home. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be another one of those games where the Bears are going to have a mid to late fourth quarter lead and find another very, very heartbreaking way to lose. So give me the Vikings to win by a touchdown. And I think the Vikings win and cover, get out of Chicago, and take care of a very important business trip to stay in the thick of the NFC North divisional picture as well as the NFC playoff picture overall. So give me the Vikings in this one.
Nick D?
I like the Vikings win, but no cover. It's a rivalry game. The Bears are playing at home, and the Bears are a tough team to figure out because we've seen highs and lows from them a lot this year. Like they came, if not for a Hail Mary, they would have beaten the Commanders on the road, and they almost beat the Packers last week. What was it? A blocked field goal. With everything with the Bears, I think that they will be up for this game. So I like the Vikings to win by a field goal.
Pat?
I think I'm actually feeling pretty similar to Nick because if you look at the Vikings defense, they've only let up more than 20 points in 3 games this year, and it's against 3 really solid offenses. So I don't think the Bears will be scoring on them much, but I'm not much of a believer in the Vikings offense myself. So I think the Vikings will win, but no cover.
Ben, what about you?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a close one. If the number was maybe around 7, I would consider that the Bears would cover this. But I think that within 3.5, I feel comfortable with the Vikings. I think it's going to be close. The Vikings, I just think that they're a better team. And the biggest thing is the coach. I know, Zan, I'm sorry about Eberflus, but you look at O'Connell and Eberflus, I'm taking O'Connell any day of the week. Even though the Bears, the last 2 weeks, actually coming into the game against the Patriots, the Bears were one of the best teams at home, and they've lost the last 2. So part of me thinks that maybe that they'll be ready for this, like you mentioned, Nick. But I do think that the Vikings here, 3.5, I feel pretty comfortable taking them on.
Anthony?
Yeah, I expect a very low-scoring defensive game in this one. Sam Darnold, I know we had a couple touchdowns last week, but he's definitely been struggling of late. He's not playing like the MVP caliber that we saw at the beginning of the season. Still playing well. He's not a bust at all, but definitely not playing as well as he did. And, the Bears got a solid defense. They can force turnovers. And same with the Vikings. The Vikings right now are definitely in the discussion for one of the best defense in all of football this year. They could force turnovers. They could sack the quarterback. So I'm going to say a very low-scoring game, but I think the Vikings will be able to do enough to cover that 3.5. So give me the Vikings to win and cover.
It's funny with the way this group is set up this week. I got to see how I want to do this. Nick, I'll go to you. Let me jump in here really quick. I'm going to see what Nick D and Pat said, and this is going to sound crazy. I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to take the Bears to win outright in this game. And I'll tell you why, because there's a couple of trends I'm seeing here. I do worry about Caleb Williams going against the Brian Flores defense, but I can say the same thing about Sam Darnold going up against the Chicago secondary. And also there's one thing, too. The Vikings are playing their 3rd straight road game, and their last 2 games, they didn't play that well against the Jaguars and the Titans. And you can make the case that the Bears are better than those 2 teams. So
they're definitely better.
They're definitely better. And 3rd straight road game, Darnold, I know their record's good, but if you look very, very carefully, Darnold's not been playing all that well the last couple of weeks. So if there's ever a shot for the Bears to get one, this is going to be it. I think they get it done here in a low-scoring game. I'm going to take the Bears not only getting the 3.5, I think they win this game on Sunday. What about you, Nick?
Wow. I'm taking the Vikings, definitely to cover. I'm worried about the Bears offensively. I've been saying that the past couple of weeks. Coaching staff issues. Sam Darnold obviously had the clunker against the worst team in the NFL in the Jaguars defensively, which kind of scared me a little. But this is actually a partial take I was going to have. I didn't think I was actually going to have this take. I'm actually concerned with Caleb Williams a little and his game. And to be honest, I think that he's going to actually decline in his first year because of the coaching staff. And I think that it's going to take him another year on top of next year to get the game back where it needs to be. So I have concerns about Caleb Williams. I have concern about his progress in his game. And they're definitely going to lose this game against the Vikings. Take the cover.
Tom?
Before I do, Zan, is there anything you want to retort or add?
Well, I just wanted to remind you, Nick, you have to remember he's yet to play a full season, and you have to remember until the Patriots game, he hadn't lost a home start. So I don't think you could fully fault him for the Bears' disappointment. I think it's just the Bears' dysfunction as an organization. It's he doesn't have an offensive-minded coach.
Well,
That's
let me
that's
be
all.
clear about one thing. I'm not saying directly his fault. I'm saying the staff is going to cause him to not progress to the ability that he needs to be. I'm not saying him direct fault. I'm saying that the team is going to cause him to not get to where he needs to be fast enough. And that's going to be a problem.
But you're not fully blaming his early struggles entirely on him, though, right?
No.
I just wanted to clarify that.
I'm saying the team is going to cause him to be down way longer than he should be.
Okay.
All right. Look, I said it last week. And a couple of guys were saying it here. Nick D, Pat, Ben, Anthony, especially Anthony. Sam Darnold has struggled, and this is something that we kind of saw with Sam Darnold's run with the Carolina Panthers. You know, he got off to a really strong start, and then he quickly fell off a cliff. And I'm worried at this point, as somebody who really likes the Vikings, that we are reaching that same point again. The difference being he's got O'Connell, he's got a good defense. This is definitely going to be a low-scoring game. I see Sam Darnold's struggles continuing, but considering the dysfunction, and yeah, by the way, somebody said it before, the Vikings do beat the Bears at home quite often, but the way that was Uzan, yeah, but the way that they have been playing of late, the Vikings, and the way that it is a divisional game, you know how these divisional games go. That's why Johnny's pick. I mean, I don't blame him, but considering the dysfunction of the Bears, that's why this week I'm okay, especially with this low line here, in saying Vikings take the money.
Speaking of divisional games, Tom, we ended with you there, and we'll start with you here. Another fast track game. We've got Tom McCarthy, Jay Feely, Ross Tucker, and Amanda Balionis on CBS. It's Will Levis and the Titans and CJ Stroud and the Texans, and this is a trend this week. A lot of divisional matchups with big numbers. The Texans at NRG Stadium, an 8-point favorite.
Look, I know the Texans are pretty banged up, and I know that they're struggling, but I mean, there can't be craziness with this game. Cover versus no cover is one thing, but they definitely the Titans suck. I'm sorry, they're just not a good team. I went into this season expecting them to be not a good team, and they have proven me right. This is an easy Texans victory. The only question is if they're going to cover or not. And like the Chiefs game, I'll say, what the hell? And I'll say, take the money for the Texans against the Mayo lovers.
Yuck.
Zan, go ahead.
Yeah, I like the Texans too, but I'm going to go bold and say that this is my lock of the week. And simply put, the reason why I like Houston as my lock of the week is because Houston is playing at home, and I think that last week was the momentum kicker that Houston needed to get on a roll, and it continues this week. So give me the Texans to win, cover, and it's my lock of the week.
Nick D?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that. I like Houston, and it's my lock of the week.
Wow.
Pat?
Sorry, so I like Houston, but I'm not really sure if this is my lock of the week. I was debating it. I'm still up in the air, but for now, I'm just going to say I think Houston covers.
Go ahead, Ben.
I'm going to go Houston cover. I just think that the Titans are just in a really bad place right now, and I feel like they play better with Mason Rudolph, and he's their backup. So that basically says everything you need to know.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Texans to win and cover as well. I know Tom mentioned that the Texans are banged up. I think they're going to start to get a little healthier. It's going to be second game back for Nico Collins. I think he'll have a bigger game. Will Anderson Jr. has a good chance of playing. When he's on the field, it makes that defense a whole different story. So I'm going to go with the Texans to win and cover.
Yeah, I agree with Zan, Nick D, and Anthony. Everything you guys said were there, and I agree with Zan and Nick D. This is also my lock of the week here, and it's with the Texans laying the 8 there at NRG Stadium. CJ Stroud, much different quarterback at home versus on the road. Nico Collins is back, and we've already seen that make a difference. Will Levis has played better, but still not good enough to give the Titans a chance, and they suck against the spread too. So all those factors are why I'm going to put this as my lock of the week here with the Texans. Nick?
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are drinking or whatever. I wouldn't take this as a lock. I just think the spread is too big. But I will say 2 words for Will Levis.
You suck.
That's what I would say. Number one, I think Will Levis is terrible. That's the reason why I would take him to cover. He's been terrible
I have
and
a question.
awful. Yeah.
Who's worse, Will Levis as a quarterback or the way he drinks his coffee? I can't tell what's worse.
Oh God, you don't want me to debate that. I could sit here and debate that for hours. So take the cover.
With all that being, and with my luck this year, that means the Texans are going to win by a touchdown. That's what it feels like.
That's true.
Well, I'm 0 for 3 in bench locks since I've come back, and all 3 of those were instances where I took the right team, but they did not cover.
Also, we should have said at the start that everybody is entering this week 0-1, considering our clean sweep of the Steelers all backfiring on us.
By the way, do we all want to take similar locks after what happened the other week?
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Or 2 weeks ago?
Another bad one. Yep. Well, 3 of us here, 2 of us in the first game, and there's more where that came from. But we are going to all take the Texans over the Titans there at NRG Stadium. Nick D, it's a Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Megan O'Leary special on Fox. It's Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions taking on Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts, and another big line. The Lions a 7.5-point road favorite.
I think this is really easy. If the Lions weren't a road team, I would have picked it. I would have picked this game as my lock of the week. I mean, the Colts are just so bad. I mean, they're so bad they barely beat the Jets. Think about that.
That's bad.
Like instead of saying the Jets are bad because they lost to the Colts, I'm saying the Colts suck because they barely could beat the Jets.
Hey, wait a minute, Johnny. I want it on the record from last week that I didn't use the excuse. You need to put it on the record that I actually did not say it.
I put it on the record in last week's videos that went out on social media.
Look,
no, but I'm just saying. I want to make it clear.
Against a real defense, Anthony Richardson is going to go back to being Anthony Richardson, which is my prediction. He might even take himself out in the game. You don't even need coaches to take him out. So, yeah, Lions. And the Lions, I think, are the best team in the NFL right now. They're winning these games by huge margins. So, yeah, give it to Lions.
Pat?
As a recovering Anthony Richardson believer, I am picking the Lions as my lock of the week. This was the game that I was excellent. I mean, the Lions have been lighting teams up. Let's be real. They're 9-1. They're putting out 50 bombs like it's Christmas. I mean, Ben Johnson's just running the score up. He's basically showing Jerry Jones, hey, here, let me see how much money I can get out of your old ass before you retire. Like, seriously.
Shut the hell up.
Because Ben Johnson really is just running up these scores for no reason, and I expect him to do the same against a horrible Colts defense. I mean, the Colts offense isn't bad, but it should not be able to keep up with the Lions offense.
All right, so you're taking the Lions. You said bench lock?
Yeah, I got it.
Broken away because of Jerry Jones. Thanks.
Yeah, very welcome, Mr. Montalbano. Good to see you back.
Yes, I missed you, Tom and Jerry. Absolutely. Ben?
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions here. I was considering it also as my lock of the week, but yeah, I mean, the Colts, their defense isn't great. I do think it's going to be close because the Lions are on the road, but part of me also feels like the Lions could blow them out too. Because the Lions have just been so balanced. Their running attack is absolutely phenomenal. And the fact that Jared Goff won with 5 interceptions 2 weeks ago and they still won basically says everything you need to know about this Lions team this year. So, yeah, the Lions here, take the money. I know that 0.5 really could scare you, but a Colts team that is just meh all year, take the money.
Anthony?
Yeah, obviously, Anthony Richardson definitely looked better. I know it's against the Jets, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But I think sitting back, learning from Joe Flacco, I think definitely made Anthony Richardson a little bit better of a quarterback. But going up against this Lions defense, I've been saying it for weeks. Their safety duo is probably the best in the league right now. They get interception on everybody, and Anthony Richardson loves to throw interception. So that's a terrible combo. So give me the Lions to win and cover.
Nick, what do you have?
Yeah, this is easy. By hook or by crook, I could care less. Give me the Lions to cover.
I've never heard that saying before. By hook or
You've
by crook.
never heard that saying before?
By hook or by crook?
Yeah, you've never heard that saying? Look it up. I mean, I'm much
like
older.
A 1930s thing to say.
I mean, Tom and I are much older than everybody in here, but yes, that is a saying. Look it up. Look it up on the old Google machine if you have to. But yeah, I'm taking them. It doesn't matter. That hook doesn't mean anything to me. I agree. The Lions are probably the best team. Everyone's going to say the Chiefs because of their record, but the Lions are playing much better. They're dropping 50-point games. The Colts are a disgrace. Also, I don't like the way they've been treating the whole Anthony Richardson situation. Tom and I spoke about this on our show. And for them to say, oh, we sat him because we thought it was going to help his progress. And I was like, no, not going to happen.
It's like Ben dropping out. Who dropped out? Somebody just drop out?
I think it was Tom.
Oh, Tom dropping out is going to help his progress,
Maybe. Oh, he's back.
There he is. All
Maybe.
right.
Kind of. There we go.
Okay. For some reason, everybody's voices were all like jumbling around when.
Robots.
So you took yourself out. You took yourself off the stream. Who are you, Anthony Richardson?
Take the money.
And on that note, Tom, what do you have?
Okay. Fixing everybody here back to normal. Yeah, no. I mean, it's not even about the Colts. Look what the Lions are doing. I know last week they played against the Jaguars, but just look what they've done this whole season. They're one of the best teams in this league. You kidding me? Take the money easy.
Dan?
Yeah, I like the Lions too. I was thinking about making this my lock of the week, but considering how the Colts kind of backfired on me last week with their game against the Jets, I just figured that maybe I'd go a little bit more conservative. So that's what we're going to do here. The Lions will cover in this one. Again, the Colts will keep it close for like a half or so. And I think Goff is going to find St. Brown at least twice. And the Lions should be able to win comfortably. I'm going to see somewhere like 24-14 or so. So they should be able to cover the number.
Yeah, Lions are going to win. That's not the issue. The issue, and you guys had said it too, not worried about the extra half a point. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I think it's beneficial. I'm taking the Colts to cover. And I'll tell you why, because this feels like a letdown spot for the Lions, because then they have their game against the Bears on Thanksgiving. They could be looking ahead to that rival game. If you look against the spread this year, the Colts are 7-2 against the spread. And there's one other interesting nugget with this. So Jared Goff is facing a defense that's going to be playing zone coverage, and all 9 of his interceptions this year are against defenses that play zone coverage a lot. And one of their injuries, the line injuries, Alex Andolze, is that his name?
Yeah,
but
I think so.
The middle linebacker just suffered a broken forearm, so that's another injury on their defense, and their secondary is still suspect. And Anthony Richardson every now and then can make that very deep throw. So yeah, I don't see any way that the Colts win this, but if you're giving me an extra half a point when the Lions are not the same team on the road versus at home, the drop off a little bit in terms of how much they win by, I'll gladly take that. Give me the Colts to cover, but the Lions will still win this game there at Lucas Oil Stadium. So I guess you could say I am going to take the road less traveled.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Thanks, Nick B. Hat tip to you, by the way, on that.
By the way, so I did look this up in case anybody was wondering. By hook or by crook is by any means necessary.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay, so you could have just said by any means necessary.
Oh, but that's no fun.
English.
But that's no fun, though.
Wait.
All right, by any means necessary, I'm going to take the Colts to cover and the Lions to win.
Yeah,
well, hold on a
say
minute. Is that the part that I missed? This whole debate about by hook or by crook?
Yes,
I've never heard that saying before.
That's a popular saying.
Oh, jeez.
Like I said, it sounds like something from you would say in like the 1930s.
Are you calling me old now?
No, I'm saying it sounds like something that you would say in the 1930s.
Nick Morganson, are we the 2 oldest ones here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's older than the 2 of us.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
All right, another fast track, another divisional game, another big line. Ben, it's a Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, Aditi Kinkabella special on CBS as your New England Patriots and Drake May are getting 7.5 points against Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, the Pats obviously have been really close the last several weeks. Drake May, I want to thank Tommy DeVito for the efforts of bringing Drake May to my team, because without Tommy DeVito, it doesn't happen. But all jokes aside, the Dolphins are going to be at home. The Patriots always struggle in Miami, even when Tom Brady was there. And the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez just won the injury report. And if he essentially goes down, I think that is basically free for either Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. Christian Barmore is also on the injury report as well. So the Patriots could be missing some of their key guys potentially on defense. And I think that the Patriots offense has been a little bit better the last couple of weeks, but I just don't see a way how they can go down to Miami and find a way to win this game. And I also like to pick against my team because for somebody, somehow this year, they've been winning. So maybe my luck kind of continues here. Give me the Dolphins here to take the 7.5 against my Patriots, but I do think it'll be a close one.
Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, I know you guys were mentioning about Caleb Williams and him struggling due to the coaching staff. I mean, look at Drake May. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of help, and I mean, he's making plays each and every week. And I mean, he's figuring out ways to do it no matter what's the situation around him. And I've been very impressed with Drake May. And as a Buffalo Bills fan, if they could get any help around this guy, I think the Patriots could have their own Josh Allen in a couple of years. That's how talented this Drake May guy is. And but right now, they just don't have the talent around them. And I do think Miami, with Tua back in the fold, they lost a lot of close games. I think that this team can go on a roll and try to steal that last wild card spot from the Denver Broncos. They kind of got a favorable schedule going forward, and I think it starts here. I know that's a lot of points to give up in a divisional game, but they are home. So give me Miami Dolphins to win and cover.
I'm glad we've gone from Tyler Huntley, Jacoby Brissett matchup in week 5 to this one, at least. At least it'll be a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more higher scoring. Yeah, I'd like the Patriots to keep it close here these last couple of weeks, but they've got 2 problems entering this game Sunday. The short, quick passing game, which has been the key to the Dolphins' offense. And while Drake May has played well, I think he's going to struggle keeping up with the Dolphins' offense. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win minus the 7.5 at Hard Rock Stadium. Nick Morganson?
All right, so Tom, I'm going to give some more English literature here to talk about this one.
Oh.
So, but I'm going to give it with a little bit of twist. Tua, death, do us part.
Boo.
Yes, you're welcome. That's my...
That's what you are. That's
Thanks.
What you are.
My point is Tua. That's it. Take the money.
Tom?
All right. Well, I'll top that one with a little bit, not in terms of any puns or any English language references, but I'm actually going to go back several ways because we're also forgetting something else. I know there are people out there who hate the hot weather, cold weather debate, but the Patriots always seem to have some trouble when they go down to Miami. And I'll never forget. Nick, years ago, watching the Rob Gronkowski screw up.
Yes,
the Dolphins ended up pulling off that unbelievable victory. I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2018. Yep, the Miami Miracle.
The Miami Miracle. Ever since then, I have been very unwilling to pick the Patriots when they go down to Miami, and that's not changing here. I'm going with Dolphins. Take the money.
Zan.
Yeah, I like Miami too. I think this is a relatively easy pick. I think New England is in full rebuild mode, and it's not entirely the fault of the new quarterback that they just drafted. But I think Miami got the momentum boost it needed a couple weeks ago when it won that game on national TV in Los Angeles. It obviously carried over to last week when they beat the Raiders. And just as Anthony said, they have a favorable schedule coming up. They play some teams that will more than likely not be in playoff contention within the next couple of weeks, and they know that this is their streak to get on a roll, especially with the healthy Tua Tagovailoa. And it's like Nick said, till Tua do his part. Because as long as Tua is healthy, Miami has a chance to win a lot of football games. So give me the Dolphins.
Nick D.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins. They're 2-2 since Tua has been back, but their 2 losses were by a combined 4 points against the Cardinals and the Bills on the road, which are both pretty good losses. And then they just blew blew out the Raiders, and they beat the Rams by 23-15, which is a pretty good win. So I mean, the Dolphins are one of the better teams in the AFC ever since Tua has been back, and the Patriots are just in rebuilding mode. They're going to Miami. The Patriots tend to struggle at Miami, and as Johnny said, they struggle with the short pass game, which the Dolphins thrive with. So yes, give me the Dolphins.
And Pat?
There's a lot I could say about what Ben said before, but I'm just going to say that, Dolphins will cover. Dolphins are the better team.
Sorry, Pat. I didn't want to do this to you.
Clean sweep then down in Miami. All right, Pat, we ended with you there. We'll start with you here.
Wait, we got another one.
Wow, I'm not used to having a video before this team. Okay.
No, and it's a video that I'm ashamed. I had a sad feeling. I had a very sad feeling that one day it would come to this. Unfortunately, that day has come, and it makes it very unfortunate because the audio that I use in this that I use in this episode actually was a quote that came from Nick and I's most recent episode.
Oh yeah, it's right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'll explain the full context of the quote after the video.
Let's see.
Giants country, Giants country, Giants country, let's ride. Giants country, Giants country, Giants country, let's ride. Giants country, Giants country, Giants country, Giants country, let's ride.
It doesn't sound the same though. I mean,
it's not Broncos country,
it's
but
not.
It doesn't have the same rhythm. I'm sorry.
I know, but I presented the de-evolution of Daniel Jones. Think about it. Within the span of on the bye week, that short span, go from QB1 to QB4 to cornerback 6, basically,
to working in the secondary,
to scout safety,
and then on Friday getting released.
Yes.
Well, that was a mutual agreement, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, so
there's so. I mean, look, we could spend 2 hours.
I know, but Johnny, do you want the full context?
Please do, yeah.
I showed Nick the proof in the pudding that was talking. Forget, I think it was some of us in forecast. It might have just been me and Nick about preview predictions, like preseason predictions, and my fiery hot take.
Yes.
To pull it up on here, I'm gonna read it for you word for word. Giants country, let's ride. That's why I had the quote there. With a lack of success from Daniel Jones and another miss of playoffs in sight, the Giants elect to sit Daniel Jones come end of November, start of December, to allow eliminating the risk of a late season injury, making it easy to cut him.
Predicting the future.
Wow.
You predicted the damn future.
I said it was going to happen. And
wait a minute. Does that mean Nostradamus made the show?
Yeah.
What are the lotto numbers now, Tom?
Yeah, seriously.
That's
my secret.
How spot on that was. I mean, I was on here 2 weeks ago and I mentioned that if there was ever a time to, make this change, this was it.
You said it on my show.
I said on your show, but I mean, and everybody's up and going crazy about it. But I mean, it made the most sense. Again, I'm not going to go crazy about this because
neither am I. But Johnny, the reason I picked late November, by the way, because this was around the time, Thanksgiving time or so, or a little after that, they tried to bench Eli 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just for the reference sake, we'll take a snapshot of that and put it on the football forecast again so people don't say afterwards, oh, he made that up right before the show. No, it's been in there since the beginning of the season. I promise you.
I can attest to that. I was actually driving and I heard that. So it was true. Wow. Yeah, there's so much to talk about it, but let's focus on the game here, guys. And Pat, we ended with you in the last one. We'll start with you here. Another fast track game. We've got Andrew Catalon, Tiki Barber, Jason McCourty, and AJ Ross on CBS. It's Baker Mayfield and the Bucks against Tommy DeVito and our Giants. And it's the Bucks, a 6-point favorite there at MetLife Stadium.
I'm sorry, did you say Tiki Barber was going to be on broadcast?
Yeah, second straight week.
No.
It's the Barber Bowl. It's the Barber Bowl.
Isn't it so beautiful that we're making a Giants legend watch an atrocity of a football team that we're putting out there?
I don't make the decision on who calls these games for. I just read it.
Give me the Bucks to cover. That's such a joke. Oh God, poor Tiki's gonna have to sit there and watch the Giants get crushed.
Just to be fair, this is the second straight week that this crew is going to be at MetLife Stadium. So, if you want to look at it that way, hey, again, I don't make these decisions for CBS or Fox or NBC or whatnot, or who goes where.
You just announced the cruise. You don't make any choices.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go a little out of order here. Let's get the Giant fans out of the way first. Tom, I'll go to you next.
Okay. Look, there's so many things I can say. Well, as far as the Tiki Barber thing goes, I mean, you know, the Giants are already getting buried in the media. You think that he's not going to go on a tirade against the Giants at some point during the game if it's a blowout? And it probably will be. Yeah, no, this is an easy one. I'm going Bucks. Take the money. I'm not willing to make this my lock. I know it's easy to do this while the Giants are down. I know the Lions-Colts was a good one. But there's one other game with a low line that's kind of calling to me.
Interesting.
Stay tuned. So I think the Giants are actually going to get a benefit and a boost from Tommy DeVito, but it's going to get negated, though, in multiple ways. Because, number one, the biggest comeback in this game is not the fact that DeVito is coming back. It's Mike Evans coming back for the Buccaneers. That is a big, big deal.
Yep.
Is he questionable, though?
No, he's fine.
No, he's
gonna
going
play.
to
As far as I know, I mean, he might be questionable on the injury report, but all the reports are saying that he's in there.
He's trending towards being in.
Mhm.
So as of this, at least, it's not definite, but it sounds like he's going to be back there. So that's number one. Number two, look, Baker Mayfield's played very, very well, even in his and Godwin's absence. He's given them a chance to win every one of these games, and he's kept it very, very close. So I think they exploit the Giants' secondary in that regard. And can somebody find out for me, are the Giants wearing their road white uniforms in this game?
I could find out.
I can't confirm that. However, the 813 Twitter account is saying that Mike Evans is good to go for Sunday by all seems. It looks like there's a Mike Evans interview where he basically says he's good to go.
All right. So take that all in. And by the way, the Giants are not wearing their road whites. So I'm taking the Bucks to win and cover. The Giants are so bad at home, too. I mean, it will look better, but it's still not going to be enough. This could even be a touchdown game. And you know what? That would be a winner for me. I think the Bucks win this one by at least a touchdown. Ben?
Yeah, I'll just be curious to see who goes to this game, just for fan base. You know, you have Baker Mayfield against Tommy DeVito, and this one here.
I'd go to this game if I was in East Rutherford. I'd go to the game.
But yeah, they get Mike Evans back. Listen, the Buccaneers the last 2 weeks, the Niners obviously have been banged up, but they went against back-to-back against the Chiefs and the Niners. Basically, two teams that were just in the Super Bowl last year. So I mean, Baker has really just played really well. They get a boost back with Mike back. Kate Otton's obviously been really good as his main guy, so he gets another big time threat there. And the Giants, they're just a bad team at home, and Neighbors, I think, was also on the injury report as well too. So if he's out, it's really kind of hard for DeVito to basically kind of get himself going here. So Bucks here, take the money.
Yeah. Just to clarify on that, Ben. So Neighbors was put on the injury report with a groin issue on Friday, but he did tell reporters that he is going to play on Sunday. But yes, he is on the injury report, so that is something to watch. Anthony?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with the Buccaneers to win and cover. I understand, Tommy DeVito can give this team a boost, but I mean, Baker Mayfield just almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs with nobody, and now he's going to get Mike Evans. So they're going to have a great game. I just want to say, for Daniel Jones' perspective, I really do feel bad for the guy. I mean, you could bash him as much as you want, but he couldn't draft himself, and he didn't pay himself. So at the end of the day, you should be more mad at the organization than Daniel Jones. I mean, Daniel Jones is a great guy. He put all his effort and his heart and soul into that. And obviously, at the end of the day, he just wasn't good enough. But it wasn't for a lack of effort. It wasn't for a lack of trying. And I know there was an ESPN reporter who was bashing, Daniel Jones's statement. And I just find that wrong. I mean, it's easy to bash a guy when he's down. And she basically came out and said, well, why don't you just say, I'm sorry, you guys gave me over $100 million for one playoff win. I mean, at the end of the day, you could bash him, but I just think that's wrong.
The girl
and
from
I hope
Take.
Daniel Jones can somehow rebound from this.
L. Duncan.
L. Duncan.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Anthony, and I didn't really want to get into this. I like L. Duncan a lot.
Me too.
To be honest with you,
I think she was so wrong on that.
Yeah, she's so wrong. You want to talk about? Let's be honest.
I think Daniel Jones has said everything he needed to say.
Yeah, as a Giants fan, I'm not mad at you.
I'm
It's the
sorry.
organization. It's all the organization. It's not on Daniel.
I don't know what she was trying to go for there, but she did it on the right show if she was looking for attention.
Well, and then Steven.
And I like Elle too. And you know what? That's really not like her. So I'm really shocked when I found out on Friday that she's the one that said that. She literally took the L on that. That was really bad on her.
And then,
yeah, but she deserved to.
And then Stephen A. Smith.
You see where I was going out with that, Nick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
By the way, it's your turn. What do you have in this game?
Let's see. What do I think? That's what I think about this game. I think this is going to be. I think this could be a 2-touchdown game. Yeah. To be quite honest, I think this is going to be a blowout. I think Giants fans are going to have massive grocery bags over their head during this game, just like Jet fans. So I'm not saying anything out of turn here. The Giants are a dumpster fire in hell. I think they're going to be somewhere in the top 3 picks, just like the Jets are. So we're going to be New York miserable in the top 5 overall draft picks for 2025. The Bucs are a better team. Baker's a better quarterback. can we stop with DeVito? He's not going to bring them any energy whatsoever in this game. I think that's a farce, to be quite honest.
They're just trying to live the gimmick one more time.
Yeah, I hope he just brings his losses. I don't want energy.
Wait a minute. What gimmick? You mean the one that he's asking for $20,000 an appearance?
Can we clarify one thing on that though for a second? This whole Tommy DeVito thing is media driven. It is. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean,
right, and I agree with you, but I think it's a whole farce to say that he's going to bring energy to the franchise.
To be fair, he played decently well. Like
I'm not disagreeing either.
So, like, he definitely deserved a shot this year. But the whole Tommy DeVito media thing, you're
well,
right.
But to say,
there's nothing good about it. Yeah,
but to say that DeVito should be the replacement next year is also silly.
No. I think you need to find out if he can be the backup on this team next year. That's one of the reasons, Nick. I said to Nick D too, is I think he needs to start the rest of the way because you need to find out if he's got a spot on this roster next year. And I'll say this too. I still don't believe the Giants quarterback next year is in the draft class. And another hot take, and this is from the Giants and Jets. I both think they're not ending up in the top 3 because they're both going to get more wins than the rest of the way.
I don't think that's a bad take. I also think like you were saying, the quarterback draft is going to be horrible. There's just no. And do you really want Shadur Sanders as your franchise quarterback?
Deion, if Shadur Sanders goes to either of the New York teams, that means you're also getting Deion Sanders. And if either of the New York teams draft Shadur and things go to hell, Deion is going to be vocal, and with the New York media. That's going to be
destroy him.
I think we might end up with like Cam Ward. I think Shador's going to go to Vegas. I think he's going to force his way there.
That's the one quarterback I believe would work is Cam Ward.
Yeah. All right.
But we have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Zan, real quick, what do you have?
Sure. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with all of you partially. I think Tampa Bay wins this game, but my Tommy DeVito bias is gonna come out here a little bit. I actually think this game is going to be closer than what people think. Yeah.
How is it that Zan has more Tommy DeVito bias than I do?
Well, I know why.
It's because I went into the school where he was a graduate student for
That's
one
true.
season. Yep. So
wow. So you're letting bias show through.
So of course I'm going to say that number 1 and number 2. Tampa Bay, as you guys have seen sometimes this year, it's not going to happen this week. They sometimes play down to their competition. They'll win, but I think it's going to be closer than what people give the Giants credit for. And I just think, last year around mid-season when Tommy DeVito came in and no one was expecting much, that's when he shocked a couple people and won a few games. So I think as long as he stays healthy and as long as the offensive line can protect him, the Giants are going to be in a lot of close games moving forward, and they might actually win. They might actually win a couple of them. So,
by the way, did anyone see
give me Tampa, but no cover?
By the way, did anyone see the video going viral of the call between the GM and Saquon during the free agency?
Yes.
And how ridiculous that video looked, by the way. Oh, well, we'll just let you go test free agency. Oops, big mistake now.
I don't think it was that big of a mistake.
I'm going to disagree with you, Nick Morganson.
Where would the Giants be with Saquon?
I don't think they'd be anywhere much.
At the very best, maybe they'd be 3-7.
Yeah, I think the issue, the big mistake we made was signing Daniel Jones long term, not losing Saquon.
We should. I think I'll save this for another rant on ETB Sports, but I think we should have just, if anything, just used the tag on Daniel.
I don't know if he would have stayed.
But we'd probably be in the same situation anyway at that point.
See, that's
I was
fair.
going to say that too. I was going to say that too.
Nick D, what do you have here?
Yeah, you never got to me yet.
Yeah, I know. I have a little order for this game.
I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm going with Tampa Bay to cover.
Okay.
One or more. That's it.
So Zan will be the only one that goes a little bit differently, but we're all in agreement that the Bucs will win there at MetLife Stadium. Do we have another video here?
No.
Oh, okay, good. We gave him.
We're
done with him. Yeah. Big line here.
Done with me? No, you ain't done with me yet.
Well, I'm going to go to Anthony here first, and I mean, this is amazing to see it like this. Anthony, it's Joe Davis, Greg Olson, and Pam Oliver on Fox. It is the Dallas Cowboys and Washington Commanders at Northwest Stadium in the Northeast.
About them Cowboys.
And that is right. The Dallas Cowboys are more than a 10-point underdog here on Sunday. Anthony?
Yeah, this is a fast track for the reason. Take the money. I'm going to go Commanders to win and cover.
Nick?
Yeah, take the money and cover.
Go ahead, Tom.
How about them Cowboys? More like, how about all that money? Take it.
Zan?
Commanders easy. Dallas is a sinking ship, and it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere but up. But the but up part is not going to start this week. Give me the Commanders at home.
No, they might actually just be but up.
Nick D?
Commanders. Taking the money.
There you go. Pat?
Prediction-wise, Commander short and sweet, but I did want to say I was the only person in the NFC predictions that did not have the Cowboys making the playoffs. So that's looking like it's going to be
okay.
Ben?
Commanders, no cover.
Oh!
Hey.
I guess it is a big line.
I think they're going to win by like 7.
Okay, fair enough.
I almost said the same thing because the Commanders have seemed to hit a wall the last couple of weeks. But
yeah, Daniels has been a little more on the shaky side the last couple of weeks, and I feel like Cooper Rush isn't great per se, but I do think that he can maybe keep it close. So I think they obviously won't win, but I'm going to go with the Commanders to win, but no cover.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the Commanders did this against better opponents the last 2 weeks, who they fell to, and the Cowboys are getting more injured by the week. It seems like, and I think we're going to be one step closer to that ultimate Thanksgiving Day game between Tommy DeVito and Trey Lance. So,
which might be the highest rated Thanksgiving game between two backup quarterbacks in recent NFL.
I agree.
I'm going to be in such, and I'm going to love watching. And I'm going to love watching that game when I'm in the middle of a food coma on that night.
Tryptophan.
I'm going to be rooting for Trey Lance twice as hard.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm taking the money, by the way, with the Commanders. So, again, almost a near clean sweep. Ben could be the one taking the road less traveled, at least with taking the Cowboys plus the 10.5. All right, one more fast track game this week, guys. We go to the late window. Tom, it's a Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins special on CBS. It is Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, a 6-point favorite at Allegiant Stadium up against Gardner Minshew and the Las Vegas Raiders.
So can we call this the Trash Bowl? Trash versus trash? I mean,
no.
I'm not
Bo
too
Nix
high.
is playing himself into being a possible rookie of the year.
Okay, listen. Bo Nix, I was going to say the one caveat is Bo Nix to me is doing great. I think he is developing. I'm just not high on Denver. More ways than one. Even with Bo Nix.
You're not Rocky Mountain High?
No. Even with Bo Nix as a quarterback, I'm still not, big with the Broncos. Now, having said that, they are playing one of the NFL's ultimate dumpster fires in Las Vegas. So, yeah, this is going to be pretty easy. Take the money.
Zan?
I'm going to go against the grain and probably all of you. Give me the upset of the week and give me the Raiders to win outright at home. I personally think that Denver is one of the most overrated teams in the AFC, and I've been following a lot of really strictly Raiders media, and a lot of people are saying at least this week that this is the one team that the Raiders fare to play pretty well against on a yearly basis.
But don't you think they're biased because they're the Raiders media?
That's true. Although most of them are supposed to be objective, but
most of them.
A lot of them. This is the one going to be the Raiders.
Give me a percentage
picking their team. So I like the Raiders. I like the Raiders in an upset.
Hey,
I know
what?
I'll probably. Well, I guess let me.
You won't give me crazy looks.
What did you have?
I was just going to say, you know what? He might look like the smartest person in the room when we come back next week.
Well, I think the lone wolf of the week clip is going to be pretty easy. This one.
Actually, there's been a lot of them so
far. There's been a few lone wolves.
There's been quite a few.
And remember, we still have a lot more to go. So Zan's not out of the woods just yet. Nick D.
Broncos no cover.
Oh, Zan's no longer the lone wolf.
I think they're going to struggle.
No, he's still a lone wolf. He picked the Raiders.
Well, no, but technically, though, what Nick D is doing though is he's also taking technically the Raiders 6, and that's what Zan's doing too.
No, lone wolf is only you go against everybody with pick.
Okay.
No. Is it? Oh, okay.
Well, it doesn't matter now because we're all separate. So sorry, Zan.
It's okay.
So not a bad play there by Nick D. Pat, what do you have?
So this Raiders team played this Broncos team in week 5 when they were the same dumpster fire they were. Devontae was hurt, so he didn't play. It's the same exact thing, only has gotten worse. And that was actually the game that O'Connell came in for Minshew. So that's how bad it was going then. I don't think it'll go much better now. I'm going to have to take the Broncos to cover.
Ben?
Yeah, Broncos are riding high, no pun intended, from their big win last week. And I think that they keep riding that high this week. Take them on.
How many times are you going to say hi?
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I want to say I feel like I've been the biggest supporter on the show of Bo Nix. I've been a huge Bo Nix guy, and I've been saying that he's going to be a good quarterback in the Sean Payton system. And I mean, the guy's been lights out. I mean, last week, multiple touchdowns. He was dicing up Atlanta, and then they should have won the week before against the Kansas City Chiefs if it wasn't for a blocked field goal. So this Denver Broncos plays good defense as well. They have a lot of good young receivers who's been developing as well. So give me the Broncos to win and cover.
So this is the one pick where if I actually had a do-over, I would have a do-over, and it's the one that actually I'm really the most comfortable in making because this is a divisional game, and we know how divisional games get weird. But the Raiders are lacking so much, and they have a big disadvantage in so many areas in this one, including coaching, that I'm taking the Broncos to win minus the 6 on the road. Even Bo Nix doesn't. I don't think even Bo Nix has to do much in this game. They're two-headed running attack monster. I think between Williams and my Notre Dame guy. Audric Estime, I think, will do enough as well. So I'm going to take the Broncos to win and cover against the Raiders, Nick.
Yeah, I am going Rocky Mountain High here. And yes, Nick, that's a 1972 reference to a John Denver song. Yes, I'm taking the Broncos minus 6 to cover. I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually have been on the Bo Nix track a little bit here, and I didn't think I was going to say that. He's actually playing much better football. The Raiders are, no pun intended, heading into a black hole. So take the Broncos. This is an easy win. Take the money.
By the way, Nick D, now we're up to 1972, so we're getting closer. And I'm, by the way, rocking my Prince 80s shirt as we're recording.
It's recent 1972.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the 80s right now.
The Vietnam
we're getting
War.
there. We're getting there. Now I feel like we're playing Carmen Sandiego. We're doing this time. All right, let's get to some good games here now in the late window and beyond. Ben, we'll go to you here. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi special on Fox. It is the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. Now, this line jumped 4 points on Friday because there's no Brock Purdy and no Bosa for the 49ers. It is Brandon Allen who gets the start there for Shanahan's squad. And it's the Packers now 5.5-point favorites at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Packers. And even if Brock Purdy was healthy, I still would be going with Green Bay. There looks like there were some elements last couple of days. There looked like to be some snow. And I feel like, West Coast team going to the Midwest, I feel like that always favors the team that plays in the Midwest, and that's Green Bay. They obviously play really well in that weather. They're a really good home team regardless of the weather. And I just personally feel like the Niners, they're 5-5, but they're way too injured. And that's basically been that kind of trend. I know that they'll probably use a ton of McCaffrey. So, of course, but if they have Braylon Allen on the road, there's Brandon Allen. I'm sorry. I was thinking Braylon Allen from the Jets. Brandon Allen. I just don't see a way that they can even cover this one. So, yeah, Packers here, take the money. And, it just sucks that Brock and a couple of the guys are hurt because it would have been a good game. But I think it's going to be a lot more of a blowout than people think. So take
the Bosa one is huge.
Anthony?
Yeah, honestly, it kind of changed who I was going to pick. Heading into this, I was going to pick the 49ers. I keep thinking, the 49ers are finally going to put it all together. They're going to start to get healthy. And as soon as I think that's going to happen, next thing you know, Brock Purdy and Nick Bosa is not playing the next week. So it just can't seem to go right for them. They've had the worst luck all season. And, I was definitely disappointed how they let that game go last week, letting Geno Smith get that rushing touchdown at the end. I mean, that was a devastating loss. They need to start getting more division wins, and they've been struggling a lot in this division that is very close. All these teams are with 1 or 2 wins of each other, and thank God, because if it wasn't, the 49ers would already be out of it by now. So, but the Packers team, I know they won a close game, but this Jordan Love, these receivers, Christian Watson, they got weapons everywhere. The Green Bay Packers can beat anybody when they're clicking on all cylinders, and they're the home team. So I'm going to go with the Packers to win and cover.
Yeah, that loss for the Niners last week was alarming in multiple ways. And now that Bosa and Brock Purdy are both out. I know Jordan Love has had some problems with throwing interceptions, and we saw the Packers play a very close game last week. I just don't have a scouting report really on Brandon Allen, so I don't really know what to expect much from him. And we saw how much they fell with Nick Bosa being out. So I'm going to take the Packers to win and cover there at Lambeau Field. Nick?
Yeah, no California dreaming going on here. Packers taking that, not even close. I would have taken them at 1.5. The Niners are way too injured for me. They've been very injured all season. I know they got
surprised you was this one of your potential locks before you went with your lock?
Yeah, actually, this was one I was potentially looking at as a lock for the Packers anyway. I just think the Packers are a better team. Jordan Love, even though he's led the league mostly in interceptions, which is a little bit scary to me over time, but their offense looks way better, and everything is coming together. Josh Jacobs is finally coming together and having good games, and that's what the offense is more what I'm prefacing on here. But the Niners are very injured, so take them up.
Tom.
Yeah, the 49ers, I mean, it has been a real disappointment. And the way that they lost against the Seahawks just kind of caps that. I mean, you got to feel for them. I mean, I thought this was going to be a team that had a fire under them, getting ready to potentially get back to another Super Bowl. Now I question at this point what round of the playoffs they might exit. I mean, they've been unhealthy. They've been unlucky. I was leaning the 49ers in this game like Anthony. It's been a pendulum. So I was leaning the 49ers. Then I hear snow's going to be in the forecast. I'm like, I don't know, especially with the luck that they've had. And, well, now that they're down a quarterback, now that they're down one of their top defensive stars, yeah, I can't justify taking the 49ers anyway. Even with the 4-point jump on the line, I got to take the money on this one.
Zan?
Yeah, I like the Packers too. I think the 49ers are too injured. I was leaning the 49ers before it was revealed that Purdy was going to be out. Now that he's out, that gives me even more confidence to take Green Bay. And obviously, cross-country teams playing in cold weather just seems like a bad news. And especially with that line moving to the number that it is, that makes me feel comfortable in taking Green Bay. So I like the Packers.
Nick D?
Yeah, Packers. The 49ers are too injured. Yeah, I like the Packers a lot.
And Pat?
Packers have been great this year. I mean, they've been about as good as a lot of people I know had expected. I think they're going to stomp the Niners, honestly, and make a statement.
All right, clean sweep there at Lambeau Field. Adam Amin, Mark Sanchez, Christina Pink special on Fox. A big game here in the NFC West, Nick D. It is Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals against Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, depending on what book you use, this line is all over the place. Some have the Cardinals a slight favorite. Some have the Seahawks a slight favorite. And one book actually has this game as a true pick'em. Pretty much a pick'em. But
it basically is a pick'em.
It is. The Seahawks are the slight 1-point favorites, though, Nick D. What do you have here?
Well, I mean, the Cardinals are in a 4-game winning streak. People are forgetting, and one of those wins was against the Dolphins on the road after Tua was back. They beat the Chargers, which is another good win. They killed the Jets. I don't know if that's a good win, but they still killed them. And they beat the Bears, and they basically killed the Bears. So the Cardinals have looked great lately, and Seattle is an oddly bad team at home. Oddly enough, they're not a good home team. And they're a weird team that is very difficult to figure out. And I think that after that win, they're due for a letdown. So, but overall, the Cardinals are just a better team. So I like the Cardinals win and cover.
Pat?
So as I said before, I had the Cowboys missing the playoffs. The team I had slipping into the wild card was the Cardinals. I do think that this will be the week they separate themselves from the rest of the division. They'll take down Seattle. Like I just said, I think the Niners will lose. I think the Cardinals will start to slip away a little bit now as the top seed in this division. And I think that, I think they should probably be a small favorite here. But either way, I got to take them outright.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm running the Cardinals train. The way that they've been playing the last several weeks, Trey McBride has really blossomed into one of the most underrated tight ends in football. They have a really good running game. Marvin Harrison Jr. on the outside. Kyler Murray, I feel like now starting to get everything together for him to succeed, which is awesome to see as well. Give me the Cardinals here in a close one.
Anthony?
Yeah, this division is so close. I mean, I call this division the mid division. There's no great teams, but there's no bad teams either. But I think the Cardinals are going to start to separate themselves, like Pat said. They're going to become the really good team out of this division. They're undefeated in the division. They're 2-0. Kyler Murray's been playing like an MVP candidate, probably the best football of his career. The Cardinals defense does scare me at times. I feel like they can hold them back, but I don't fully trust Geno Smith this season. He had that nice win against the 49ers, but overall he struggled. He's not the same Geno. I do like their wide receivers, but this Cardinals team, man, they've been solid all year. Even in a lot of their losses, they've been very close. They almost nearly beat the Bills. We talk about that all the time. So, the Cardinals are a sneaky good team. So give me the Cardinals.
No, there is a way that we could end up with a 4-way tie in the NFC West if things work out after this week.
All right, you're looking a little too far ahead on those scenarios.
It'd be a little fun, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, Nick D, you're right. No real home field advantage this year for the Seahawks, which is very rare to say because that place, Lumen Field, is always a tough place to play. But we've seen teams go up there and beat them big.
In fairness, this year. They've played much better teams at home than they have on the road.
It's true.
Fair.
True.
And I love the Cardinals the way they're shaped up this year. They're coming off their bye week. It was a nice win for Seattle last week, but I don't know if that was really more because of the injuries with the Niners. The bottom line is I love the running attack for the Cardinals here, and I think that's what it's going to propel them to win this game. Whether it's James Conner, whether it's their rookie Wilson, or even if it's just Kyler Murray, Trey Benson, is their rookie runner, or even Kyler Murray's ability to run the ball too. And I think that helps. I know Seattle's also had like this bomb cyclone where like the players have not been able to take warm showers either. I think the weather's supposed to be fine. I think the weather's supposed to be fine when they play there on Sunday. But yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals here to win up there at Lumen Field. Nick?
Yeah, Cardinals. And Pat, I'll give it to you because I actually am now on the Cardinals side of things after I completely abominated and trashed them in the preview. Kyler Murray's figured it out. Trey McBride has been really good as a tight end. Who's the rookie running back again that they have?
Trey Benson.
He's been really good. He's been really, really good at the running back position. Like I'm shocked how good he's been, but it's been really good. Seattle is mid. That's how I look at them right now. And obviously I have the history of knowing Geno Smith, so obviously I know how this goes. Whether you pay him or not, I don't care. Kyler Murray's been better. I agree with Anthony. He's been an MVP candidate so far. This is an easy win for the Cardinals.
Tom, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm also like Nick. I have to give Pat his flowers. And I mean, Nick D pretty much has my argument and then some. The Cardinals are on a 4-game win streak. They've looked great. I had questions coming into the season about Kyler and Marvin Harrison, the connection between the two of them, but it's been great. James Conner, I've enjoyed, for a couple of years now, and now here he is doing some phenomenal things down in Arizona. Trey Benson, Trey Benson is really coming into stride. Trey McBride, kind of like what Anthony was saying, coming into the season, I had him as probably one of the most underrated tight ends in this league, and he really has showcased that and has also come into his own. The Seahawks, they've had their ups and downs. Yeah, they got that big win over the 49ers, but that's a game that probably should have been another loss. And if it wasn't for that, we'd be talking about the skid. I don't know if it's them going down in talent or just a tougher schedule, but something is up with the Seahawks team, and it's just not good. So, yeah, I'm going with Cardinals outright.
And Zan.
Yeah, I like the Cardinals here too. I like the way that they've been playing the last few weeks. They're slowly but surely figuring it out, and I was very surprised with the way they performed against the Bears. And as you guys alluded to, Seattle, it just seems like it hasn't been able to close out games. The Rams game was a prime example. This is another one of those divisional games where it'll play well enough to win, but it'll lose a close one at the end. So give me the Cardinals. And by the way, just for not necessarily programming, but just for a picks note, rather, we have a lone wolf in this one. We have Grant, who's not here, who's picking Seattle to beat Arizona. So,
all right. So there we go. So
Brady Bunch, everybody plus him, minus him.
Yeah. So 8 against 1. So Grant the lone wolf there at Lumen Field. All right, Nick, it's a Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark special on Sunday Night Football on NBC. It is the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts heading to SoFi Stadium to take on the Los Angeles Rams, and the Eagles are a 2.5-point favorite.
Wait, which one are you going to?
Which Nick?
Nick Morganson, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. This is a good game. This is actually surprisingly a really good game. Two decent quarterbacks going up against one another. This is a tough one. The Eagles do struggle on the road. That they've had a tendency. This is also a East to West Coast trip, which I'm kind of worried about, which is a big issue. The Eagles have played good football, but I feel like the West Coast trip is going to hurt them a little bit. And I just think the Eagles kind of play down when they have to travel. So, believe it or not, I'm taking the Rams in a full upset.
All right, Tom?
All right, I'm going to throw a counter at you, Nick Morganson. You're definitely right that, that can present a little bit of issue, but the Eagles are also, they've got the record that they've got, and they're also one of the best second half teams in this league. And they've got plenty of weapons. I know Devonta Smith doesn't look like he's going to be playing. However, he is out. Okay. But you know what? I think A.J. Brown is still going to be
Devontae Smith is great, but he's out. So he'll be there in spirit. So it's okay. He'll help them a lot.
But I think my point being, I think A.J. Brown is still, it's still going to be too much. I think they've got plenty of talent around them in Philadelphia. I mean, the LA Rams, once upon a time, you heard Cooper Kupp and Nakua, and it's like, oh, that could be some trouble. I don't think, they really have the luster that at one point that they have in Philadelphia. They're coming off that win over the Commanders. They have shown that they are a very strong team, that they can compete. It's a 2-team race within that AFC East, and don't count them out just yet, despite all that the Commanders and Jaden Daniels have done this season. Remember last week? Yeah, the whole rant about Nick Sirianni. Johnny and Nick were in that whole big argument.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Oh, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. You know what? I mean, I feel like maybe Nick Sirianni, if you talk to me entering this season, I'm like, how does he have a job again after that horrific collapse of last season? But to your credit, Johnny, they have the team. I mean, to Nick Morganson, you have the team that they have. They have the record that they have. So I kind of have to make it up to Nick Sirianni a little. I did tease this earlier that there was a low line that interests me, and it's this one. And this is my lock of the week. I'm going Philadelphia over LA.
Wow. Huge swing between these two guys. You have Morganson going with the Rams and Tom putting his lock on the Eagles. So it's a swing between those two.
Wow.
Maybe a huge swing overall in this competition. Zam, what do you have?
I like the Eagles here too. Again, the second half team thing is very important, but talk about Jalen Hurts. He's very, very quietly having an excellent season in one of several fantasy leagues that I'm in. The one fantasy league I'm about to mention is the one that my team is in the playoffs, and he's my primary quarterback, and he's been very, 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 very comfortable.
He's my damn dynasty QB.
I never have to worry about not having a quarterback on a week-to-week basis that isn't going to do well. And that's why I really like this Eagles team this year, and they're a team that's just extremely resilient. They're not out of any game they play. This Rams team is very good, but also this Rams team struggles when they should be winning these close games. Very, very prime example was the Miami game a couple of weeks ago. I thought for sure that the Rams were going to win that one, and they didn't. This is another one of those where this is a game that they should probably win, but they'll lose it late. So give me the Eagles. So.
Not that button. Oops.
There you go. I was going to say, if I were to lock the Eagles, it would be a huge risk, and I probably would have immediately regretted it as soon as I did it. So thankfully, that's not the direction I'm going this week.
What are you saying, Sam? Because I have no regrets.
We'll see.
Nick D, what do you have?
I like the Eagles. I actually like the Eagles. And the thing is that because it's 2.5, it's just to pick them. And even when the Eagles play badly, which I think they will, I think they'll make a lot of blunders this game. The second half team, very good in the second half, obviously. That's a very good point. But the thing is even when they play badly, they figure out how to win. And you can't say the same thing about the Rams. They don't always win, and they also play badly and struggle against teams that are, just much more mediocre than the teams that the Eagles have struggled against. So to me, it's just like, I think the Eagles will figure out a way to win this. So I like the Eagles to cover.
Pat?
Those two took exactly what I was going to say. I feel like it's going to be a close game, but the Eagles this year are just such a good team at finding ways to win games, and I feel like they're just going to end up squeaking out this game against the Rams.
Ben?
I was leaning against the Eagles, but I kind of convinced myself that I'm going to go with the Eagles still here. Pretty good second half team. They'll still feel like have enough weapons without Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert, of course, has been a main target for Jalen Hurts across the middle of the field. And, I thought that the Rams defense against my Patriots last week wasn't bad. They have a decent front, but their secondary is absolutely abysmal and could really move the ball against them. The Eagles obviously have a much better offense than the Patriots do. I think that the Eagles are able to do enough against the Rams. Take the money.
Anthony?
Yeah, I know we were talking about the winning streak that the Arizona Cardinals are on, but the Philadelphia Eagles, 6-game win streak. This team has been very dominant. I mean, when you look at this roster, offense and defensively, this is one of the most talented teams in all of football. And that's why they've been dominating the way that they have. I mean, defensively, you look at their young corners like Cooper DeJean. He's been playing better each and every week. You look at Mitchell. He went one-on-one with Terry McLaurin and pretty much shut him out the entire game. For a rookie to do that, that's very impressive. And then you added Saquon Barkley's rushing ability with also Jalen Hurts, with A.J. Brown. I just don't know how you stop this team, man. With their defensive playing the way they got, offensively, they'll get healthier. Rams, I just feel like their wide receivers, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, even when they're on the field, I don't think that they're 100%. I think they're playing through some serious injuries, and I don't trust the Rams secondary like you guys said, so give me the Eagles to win and cover.
Sorry, Nick Morganson. I know you wanted to be the lone wolf, but you're not going to be. I'm taking the Rams. Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. But because I think their pass rush and their young defense, their speedy guys are going to be able to. Their young guys are going to be able to contain Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley just enough. And when this passing game gets going with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, I think that the Rams can be as dominant and as lethal in offense as anybody in the league. And I think they're going to put up points. I actually think this is going to be kind of a higher scoring game. And I don't think the Rams are going to lay a clunker like they did on Monday night 2 weeks ago. I'm taking them to win this game in a pretty entertaining one there on Sunday night. Well, we had one primetime game at SoFi Stadium. Well, let's have a second one, and also a pretty cool matchup here. A Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salter special on ESPN. It's Lamar Jackson and the Ravens taking on Justin Herbert and the Chargers in the second Harbaugh. And Zan, the Ravens are a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think I trust Lamar Jackson more than I do Justin Herbert. So give me the Ravens to win in a really close game. I actually could see this thing going to overtime and the Ravens winning this game in a walk-off touchdown. I think that this game is a chance to go that way, but I actually think that the Ravens defense does enough to force Justin Herbert into a few throws. And I'm actually going to go with an exact score prediction. I think the Ravens win this game 26-13. Earmark that.
Big win for the Ravens. Nick D?
Yeah, I like the Ravens. -2.5, I like the Ravens. Because I think this game will be close. I mean, I think it's interesting because these two teams are both very different. You have the Ravens who tend to give up a lot of points and score a lot of points. They tend to get into a lot of shootouts. And the Chargers who tend to not give up a lot of points. So it's sort of strength against strength and weakness against weakness in a sense. So I think that aspect of the game is fairly interesting. But overall, the Ravens are just a much more stacked team than the Chargers are. They're a more talented team. And as flawed as they are, I think they'll be able to pull this off. So because it's only 2.5, I like the Ravens to win by like a field goal.
Pat?
It's crazy. This has to be my toughest pick of the week because, like we were just talking about, this Chargers defense has only given up more than 20 points one time this season, and it was against the Bengals last week. And they still pulled off the win because Herbert played great. So this is a very, very tough pick. I think the Chargers are actually going to eke it out, though. I don't know. For some reason, I just like picking the underdog in games like this. So give me the Chargers here.
Just like you with the Panthers.
Yeah.
It's worked. Ben?
Yeah, I'm excited for the Harbaugh Bowl. So, that's obviously the first thing. But I think the second thing will be the Ravens are coming off of a loss and a really tough loss in Pittsburgh last week. And I think that similar to the Chiefs, they're going to basically take out their anger against this Chargers defense, which I know is obviously very good. But I do think that the The Chargers were up by double-digit points in that second half against the Bengals. The Bengals almost made it even at somehow a game. So the Chargers, I just don't really trust them specifically, even if they have a lead, to be able to sustain the lead. Justin Herbert, obviously, that offense is great. Their defense is obviously great, and they obviously have the coaching, of course, compared to what they've had in the past. But I just think that the Ravens are just like Nick DiMartino was saying. The Ravens just have the better team. I'm taking the better team here in the Ravens, and I think that they respond here, take the money and the cover.
Anthony.
Yeah, I just want to say Jim Harbaugh has done a tremendous job with this Chargers team. I mean, pretty much he comes in there and they got one of the best defenses and one of the best offensive lines in football. And I think obviously that has a lot to do with Jim Harbaugh. Wherever he goes, that's always a stable of his team. He has great offensive, defensive lines, and he's really coached his team up. You know, even some of their young receivers, we've seen a guy like Quishon Johnson who looked like a bust last year, and now he's looking like a good starter. We got Ladd McConkey who's looking good, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Herbert has been keeping the ball clean. But, man, the Ravens aren't going to lose back-to-back. I know Lamar had a bad game, but Mike Tomlin plays really well against Lamar Jackson. So that doesn't happen each and every week. Lamar Jackson's going to have a bounce-back game. Yes, the Ravens' defense do scare me, but Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry would just be too much. I think at the end of the day, the Ravens are just a more talented team. This Chargers team is just very well coached, but that talent will be a difference. So give me the Ravens to win cover.
2 7-win teams, 2 quarterbacks in the MVP discussion, one of the best running backs in the league going up against a tremendous run defense. That's why this game is going to be tremendous on Monday night. But I'm going with the team that right now is in better form, and that's the Chargers. And the funny thing is, the people want to say, well, the Chargers haven't played anybody, but let's be honest, they just played a very similar team that the Ravens are last week on Sunday Night Football against the Bengals. The Bengals have a great offense and a terrible defense. The Ravens' offense is electric. Their defense, especially their secondary, is not good at all right now. I think this is a very similar situation. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring though as last week, but I'm taking the team that's in better form right now, and that's the Chargers, and plus the 2.5, and I think they win this game totally. So that's what I'm going with. Give me the Chargers there on Monday night, Nick.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I've been back and forth on it. I was looking at the Chargers because first of all, I like Herbert now running out of the pocket, being healthy, because that allows him to expand his field. You saw that quite a few times. He took off for 15, 20-yard runs. I knew he had it in there, but that was it. Tom, excuse the reference here, but he reminded me a little bit of Eli Manning with cement feet when he just would not get out of the pocket and get sacked 5 or 6 times a game because he wouldn't escape the pocket every time. But when I look at some of the games on the Ravens side, bad loss to Pittsburgh. In my opinion, really bad loss. The game against Cincinnati, which they had to come back and win, giving up 34 points to a horrible Cincinnati team. I understand Joe Burrow's had a good season. The defense has let them down, but you can't give up 34 points. You just can't do that. And also, we're forgetting here, Ravens are the worst defensive receiving yards team in the league. They give up more receiving yards than anybody. And I think eventually that is going to hurt them in this game because I looked at the over-under. They're projecting over-under 51 points in this game currently. Which, and if it's a score fest and a slugfest, I just think the Chargers are in a much better mode right now. Lamar does not look good. He has not looked good in certain games. He's not the same Lamar that he has been over the last couple seasons where he's been in MVP mode. I think he's been a little bit less. So I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm taking the Chargers to win outright in this game. I just think they're in the much better mode right now, and I think they're going to win at home.
Well, can I throw one counter argument before I give my take?
Yeah.
We're also coming off of a Sunday Night Football matchup where the Chargers defense almost let the Bengals back into the game.
You're right, but I also think the Chargers are more resilient as of late, too.
I will give you that. All right. So I'm back and forth as well. This is the toughest game to pick this week. I mean, I've been going back and forth. 2 phenomenal quarterbacks. Johnny, you kind of said it. You got Derrick Henry going up against Derrick Henry, who's just an ageless wonder, taking on a really tough defense. A team with a great offensive and defensive line with Harbaugh, which, by the way, the Harbaugh family Thanksgiving table is probably going to be quite awkward this week, 3 days after this game.
For sure. No questions asked.
It's gonna be like Jim Harbaugh and Jim Schwartz that one time.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is an incredible matchup. I do think the Ravens have quite the tough weapons that are going to give the Chargers quite a bit of a test, although the Chargers do have a lot of upward momentum. You know, this is probably going to be an anticlimactic ending of the episode, but I'm going to take a little more of a wild run. I'm going to go with a thumbs middle here. I'm going to say the Ravens win this game. I think it's only going to be a 1-point game. I think it's going to be like 21-20 or 20-19, something like that.
Tom's going to thread the needle. All right. And that's some way to wrap up week 12 here of the football forecast.
Actually, speaking of Thanksgiving, we'll end on a better note, a little more important note, a little change of schedule for next week.
Yeah, so week 13 football forecast, we will have a special Thanksgiving Day airtime Thursday, November 28th, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. That way we get in all the Thanksgiving games, even though some of them are going to be awful and terrible, including Giants Cowboys.
You can also watch or listen while you're sitting at dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, if you don't want to listen to your family members.
Oh, yeah, I like
you can do that too if you want.
We are predicting Sunday games, so there is still content there.
Yeah, there's still content to
yeah.
Or if the Giants Cowboys game makes you fall asleep, you need a nap going during that time, you could just have your headphones in and listen to us.
That's
yeah,
right.
Or I was going to say, just eat the turkey instead. You can fall asleep.
There you
But
go. And also the Black Friday game too next week between the Raiders and the Chiefs that Friday at 3.
yeah, let's put it this way. This is the joke that Tom and I run with all the time because this is the most standalone clips we have to do during that week and Christmas because they all stand alone in their own way. So that's always the fun on the editing side afterwards. But that'll do it for week 12 of the football forecast. Make sure you follow our show on social media at TFB Forecast ETB on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Help us on the climb to 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you follow all the shows that are scrolling on the bottom for everybody that's here in this room. If you can't watch, listen to the football forecast wherever you get your podcast. Again, that's all audio platforms. We are on every single one. At least I think we are. So make sure you go listen. And obviously, this show on the network presented by Playback. We will have some streams in the very near future. Very NBA heavy as of right now. That's the season they're in. So just make sure you look out on our ETB Network social pages for all that. All right. I think we're done babbling for this episode. So go enjoy the football this week. Big week coming up, Thanksgiving week. So make sure you tune in. And does anyone else have anything to say before we get out of here?
I don't think so. Have a good one, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good week, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Have a good weekend, everyone.